What's up? This is I don't know. It's October 14th. I was planning on doing this health thing. I'm checking in, explaining where I'm at. Um, I didn't stick to it as hardcore as I'd like. I was supposed to stop checking it halfway through. I'm a little leaner. I'm a little more muscular, but you get what you put into it. If you half-ass it, you get half-ass results. I kind of half-assed it, and I'll explain why. I don't regret it. I'm glad I did the challenge, but I just don't have the motivation to be at hardcore. Anyways, I'll show. I took pictures on the phone of my body to see how much of a difference there is. I started last week, so that's a picture of me when I first started in September, when I first moved over here. It's now October 15th, and I went carnivore, no fap, no coffee, no sugar, and no weed. And I also was taking cold showers. Forgot to add that in. And so far I've done that for so long. For the most part, there's a little bit of... Your average person isn't going to be able to tell it. If you're really picky, you can say, oh, you can see your abs a little more. I started exercising, and here, I'll show you a picture of me before about 10 years ago, when I was in the military. I had did something like this in about 3 months. There was a picture of me back in 2010-ish, March, and then like 3 months later, was it like till June-ish? There was the difference. I don't know if that picks up so much. And I was able to stick to that a little more hardcore because, one, I was in the military. It's real easy to work out. They make you do it. And that one, I didn't do diet as much. Like, I just tried to get I tried to get about a gram of protein from meat, but I had grains and vegetables in there. And I remember drinking juice. But I burned it off. I was working 12 hours a day, a physical job in the sun. And and after that, I'd go to the gym, and I would run 3 miles to the little workout place on base, do pull-ups, sit-ups, and run back 3 or 4 times a week. That's too much work just for that much, those results, Now I've worked out. Basically all I do is I pick up 35 pounds, put them over my head about 6 times. I wanted to up it to 12 each, but I do that twice a day, all the way down, so I'm getting my legs worked, up to my tiptoes, get over my head, just to work everything. I do about 25 push-ups or so, and I move my hands like this, and then I also lift when I'm pushing up my arms like this and like that. Try to mix it up, and I do pull-ups on here, 5 or 6, and I lift my knees when I do it. And then I do a run around the block, which is about 3/4 of a mile, and then I do another set. Then I'd go work, and I'd come back, and I'd try to do another set. Sometimes that set would be half as much. Within the first month, it was slow going because it was too much to change. After the first month, I decided, in October, the things that I didn't see any benefit, because I had crippling depression. And I'll explain what I chose to keep and what I didn't. The exercise, about 3 weeks in, I started to feel my body getting benefits, feeling better at a rested state. And just, if you ever do exercise, you're going to feel a little better. You'll have more confidence. When your muscles get used, at least me, I felt an internal change. They say if you could make a pill out of exercise, it would sell off the shelves and all the benefits for it. And there's a reason for that. So number one, best benefit was the exercise. And I could have lost a lot more weight if I squeezed in more fast. Like, I would have had 2 more fast days, but my neighbor gave me stuff and I said I'd cheat. So I'll probably squeeze them in later this month because it's not October yet. I'm in Halloween, but I'm going to keep the exercise. The no-fap, I cheated here and there, and I decided to just straight up throw the towel in for the rest of the challenge on no-fap because I don't see a benefit of it. One of the things I was hoping to see a benefit from the no-fap was ED. You know, I'm 37 now, gonna be 38 in November, and I've had ED off and on, a little more than I'd like to admit, you know. And I've heard people say, "Oh, no fat. It's because you desensitize yourself. You see too much porn." But in all honesty, I don't. I had my porn problem in my 20s and stuff. I look at it moderately. A lot of times, I just think about experiences that I've had with ladies, and the porn addiction part isn't necessarily there. So I don't see the benefit. I just wasn't seeing the benefits to no fat. And also my social life, and I work for Uber and Lyft, so I only work with myself and I work with the general public. And a lot of times, since I'm such a unique weirdo, I don't identify with the people, so I don't feel like I have peers or positive interaction. So depression is a lot harder when I'm this much of a loner, and the fapping is therapeutic. It helps me sleep, helps me de-stress. So I said, I don't see the benefits of it, because I was beating myself up over it and it was causing more stress. And the ED I felt was improving from the exercising. The one part of exercising that I was hoping to not have the most benefits from, because I want to skip it, my least favorite is the run. It's the one I never, once I do it, it's cool. But that's when I started incorporating the jogging around the block, that's when I was really feeling some benefits. I picked those weights up, put them over my head, yeah, cool. But to have the persistent, I don't know, something about the blood going up and pushing into the nooks and crannies of all your blood vessels, it does something. I think it opens up the, I don't know. So that was good. The diet was a little too hardcore, and I didn't feel unsatisfied or anything like that. I didn't have the cravings weren't that bad. It's the boredom and the de-stressing. Like this fat, what people wear, a lot of folks, it's just stress. It's a manifestation of stress to let loose, and I needed a little more release. So I got rid of the hardcoreness. And the coffee, I was afraid I was becoming a scatterbrainer or jitterbug from the coffee. Not so much. I think I was just that way in general. I really think the one thing that fixed a lot of the issues was pretty much the exercise. And the weed as well. The coffee, I'm no longer going to skip coffee. I'm going to try to skip a day or two randomly. But in general, I just don't see a benefit from skipping the coffee. And I like to have sugar in it, because I decided to not be that hardcore. If you can have like two or three spoons full of sugar a day, you can make up for that on your fast days when you're eating nothing. To me, the benefit that I get from the relaxation and to clear my mind, I don't know, just sipping the coffee, I need that little kick because I don't have much in my life. So I'm keeping the coffee, and also my BMs, my bowel movements. Yeah, I have them. I didn't get constipated or anything, but they're not, I don't know, it doesn't happen they're less satisfying. They're more subtle. They do happen. Like technically I'd have a BM every day on the carnivore diet. But when I have the coffee, it's much better. You know, it's not just like, oh, a couple little, not to be too graphic, you know, like goat poop or anything, like a legit bowel movement. And it makes everything just go a little easier. So I'm keeping coffee in for the most part. I thought I'd cut back on it a lot. I'm only going to barely cut that out. The weed too, I'm still not smoking weed, but only because I'm looking for a day job, which hopefully will help with my social life a little better, and to have a secondary income in case my car breaks. I had an interview at Aldi's, and I'm supposed to get a second one, and I know they drug test. So I'm keeping the no weed going, but not because I see the benefits. Like, I thought I'd get more vivid dreams. I do dream, but they're not more vivid. I'm not having extra spiritual or cool or euphoric dreams, which I was hoping to boost, or nightmares, which I wouldn't really be enjoying, but I've heard people say that. And the amount of relief because I don't drink or anything, to have on a Friday or Saturday night after I drive everyone a puff of weed, I want to incorporate that back. I get a lot of enjoyment out of it. I like to come back home, you know, hit the bong one time, watch a cartoon, and go to bed. I don't want to go further than that, though, because I do think, like anything, you can overdo it. You can overdo sugar, you can overdo coffee, you can overdo weed, you can overdo fapping. I want to abstain from everything to decide what's the balance, how much I want to come back, or if I want to keep something completely out. And I'm just letting you know my conclusion. So for the rest of the challenge, basically all I'm going to do is try to up my exercise, try not to go overboard with the sugar, which is mostly try to just stick to the coffee. Oh, and chocolate. I had to incorporate chocolate because I think the magnesium is what was exacerbating. I heard people say magnesium can make depression worse. And I did notice when I got some real dark chocolate, if I take a chunk of that, sometimes it would. I don't know if it was just the sugar or if it was the magnesium or whatever, but my cheats for the rest of it's going to be pretty much dark chocolate and sugar with my coffee. Other than that, I'm sticking to carnivore because it's easy and I don't feel malnourished. And that'll be for the rest of the challenge. After the challenge, we'll see how much exercise I want to keep in there, because it does, sometimes it does wear me out by my day, because sometimes, I do it in spurts. I'll just keep going until I get sore and finally get tired because it's so hard for me to pick it back up again. So I'll end up going 5 or 6 days. And then when my day off comes that I want to do my art and projects, I'll be so wore out I just end up sleeping the day away. And I get bummed about that. So we'll see how much maintenance exercise I want to keep in. I think I am going to keep a jog in. Am I going to try to do it 4 or 5 days or sometimes 6 days a week, or just twice to maybe 1 day a week for a couple months, and then when I start feeling like, oh, I'm letting myself go a little too much, pick it back up. But basically, I'm just making this video because I said I was going to touch base. I didn't do any measurements or anything. I think what I've done to this point is gotten where I thought I could get in 2 weeks. But now in hindsight, I think that wasn't realistic because I am older. Your body does age. I am human. I started getting joint pain and stuff in my hands and in my foot, swollen things. I'm not in my 20s anymore. I was in my late 20s when I had those other exercises. I've always been lucky to look kind of youngish for my age and had a pretty resilient body. I never really had issues whenever I did exercise. But I'm a little older, and I'm just trying to maintain where I'm at. Good general health. And when this is over, I'm not going to try to limit myself or abstain from fapping because I don't see a benefit in it. Oh, cold showers either. I told you, I forgot to mention that in the beginning. I don't see any benefit in that either. I'll take a cold shower when it's hot or after exercise, but I like to cut the grease off and get it off my scalp and body. But a warm shower feels good sometimes, especially when I actually am sore. Up here, my traps get sore. I don't know what exercise I'm doing that's really making those sore, but warm shower helps get the knots out. So I gotta have those, and coffee, BMs, get the blood moving. I'm older now, and luckily drinking isn't a problem for me. I don't like hangovers. Only if a chick comes over and I want to loosen up do I drink. But I guess that's it. I'm gonna stick to the carnivore diet because it's easy. I'm so used to it. Like, for as much, everyone likes convenience. If you had a microwave meal and you're gonna put it in the microwave for like 2 minutes and just eat it, it's the same thing with like a steak. I can have a steak or a piece of lamb that I dusted the night before, that's been in the fridge, doing a quick 24-hour to 48-hour dry age. I throw that in some duck fat. Oh, I also added the avocado oil. I'm not scared of it. Coconut oil. I think mixing that with kind of like cutting olive oil with butter, it helps the duck fat not smoke as much or something. I noticed when I was using just duck fat, for some reason I was getting headaches. I don't know if it's just coincidence or not, but I started adding just a splash of avocado oil in there, and it seems to just be a better frying agent. But anyways, it only takes about a minute on each side because I'm eating stuff rare in the middle. And it's just so easy to do. Sometimes I don't feel like doing the eggs. Oh, that's another reason why I was going to cut back on the exercising, is because to maintain muscle and everything, I live on a budget and it's expensive to eat more than a pound. I'm just going to not worry about how much protein I'm getting. I'm just going to get items. It might be less than a pound each day, and not exercise as hardcore after this challenge for money-wise. So it's like $8 for a chunk of lamb that's not a pound. I look for things that are about $10 or less, and I pretty much only eat red meat and lamb, like red meat, lamb and beef. Sometimes I get chicken or Cornish hens, and eggs, and fish, seafood and fish. But those are more treats. I don't trust eating chicken or anything rare, so I got to cook that all the way, which is kind of a hassle now that I'm used to just searing stuff. And fish is expensive. I like to try to catch my own fish. But that's it. I'm gonna go work cows with my buddy. He's got a cattle ranch, and I always try to get grass-fed stuff, but they'd rather pay me money for whatever reason. But they said they're probably gonna give me some of my own beef, which is cool. And I guess that's all. If I decide to do one of these in the future, I'll post it. Probably not, because the only thing I did this thinking to keep me more accountable, and it did to a point. But it'd only be worth it to me to do it again if I actually had an audience. Right now, there's still random people clicking. Like, I get like 4 or 5 views, maybe 7. I know 2 to 3 of them are from me, and maybe like a bot, it seems like, or someone clicks it. If I actually got an audience of people who are commenting, interacting. Now, I get that it's hard to grow an audience because these things are not high quality. I don't put that much production into it. So I'm kind of doing it backwards. You kind of want to put the work in front, and that's where you grow an audience, because they'll say, hey, this is worth watching. But I was just doing this on the side as an experiment. That's enough of me rambling. I might make another one of these videos at the very end. Yeah, I'll make another one of these at the very end and probably end up repeating a lot of the stuff I'm already saying right here. But I guess I'll see you guys probably after November. That's after my birthday. That's when this thing will be done, and I'll have my conclusions and decide what I'm gonna do. Bye-bye.